Hello, everyone. We are welcome everyone who are watching Kawthoolei Today News today. Uh, Today we are going to discover something happened in Burma, like serious sleaze that hurt people and seriously that make people feel sad. So we are going to discover some of those. So we have a few special guests. Also, we're going to have some title for questions. We're going to have some answering. So this is not about asking a question. We are going to just discuss what is going to happen next in Burma. So, uh, do we need to introduce ourselves? Momo, you are being muted. Can you unmute your phone and come here?
We have to introduce ourselves.
Yeah. Okay, let's. My name is Tini from USA.
My name is Mumu and I live in Marshall, Minnesota.
Next war.
Brother Rainier, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, my name is Renio, and I'm in South Dakota, USA.
I'm Laurie Stone Howell, and I am in Mississippi, USA.
Thank
Hi,
you.
my name is Shipa. I live in Indiana, USA.
We have another special guest from Norway. Okay. Jackie, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, my name is Jackie White, and I am the founder and director of Anchor International here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And our heart is to support and support the ethnic minority groups from Burma and around the world.
Thank you. Okay. A special guest from Norway.
Tini chúng internet ga ba mo na ke akadili de jena na wi okay.
Yes, very clear.
Okay. May mila ko pilila po ya ul ko na wi mo na. Te lo la ko na wi.
Thank you. Yeah. Today we are going to talk about. There are so many people think the Burmese leader, the Burmese military leader, they are doing the right things. Like some people believe like that way. Because, a few people live in the U.S. So we want to discover some of issue. And also right now, if we look at the news or in Burma, there's a lot of things happening in Burma. It's not only the city part, also the countryside, like a mountain, out in the village, the person, like kind of people live in mountain, they have to flee from Burmese soldiers. They're innocent, so we just want to discover some of those information. So at first, I would like to have Ms. Laura to share his experience as American people. What is your thought? What is your thought? Ms. Laura, can you start it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yes, you know, I represent the KNDO here in North America, both in the U.S. and in Canada, and so my thoughts come from that point of view. What I can say is that if you happen to have seen my speech from last Saturday at the embassy, I can just reiterate our thoughts there in that, you know, we support democracy. That's what we have for over 70 years been fighting for, is for a democracy in Kawthoolei. We absolutely 100% condemn the actions of the military junta that is there. That they're an illegitimate entity. They were not elected. They've put themselves in charge. So we as a body, we do not endorse any specific candidate or any specific political party. What we do support 100% is democracy. And right now, the democratically elected leaders, the majority come from the NLD there in Burma, and that is who we must support as the democratically elected leaders, the will of the people who were allowed to vote. Unfortunately, as those of us who are either in the Karen community or, like myself, an ally, we have known for many years that the military junta would not play fair, and that they would not adhere to the laws of democracy. So we do not find ourselves surprised by these actions, unfortunately. But even though we're not surprised, we are still just as outraged by these actions. And we expect that a full reinstatement of the duly elected parliament and leadership, we fully expect that will they'll be returned to power.
Thank you for your thought. Yeah, for your sharing. What about you, Miss Jackie? You told me earlier that some of American people think that the Burmese military take over the government, so it is the right fit because the corruption of the vote. Or I think you know a little bit about that. Can you share, like, as an American people thought? I cannot hear you. Can you?
I'm sorry. Okay, I unmute. First of all, I want to say hello and greetings to everyone. And I strongly support and stand in solidarity for all the democratic people of Burma. Our heart goes out to you, and know that you have made, the Karen people have made a wonderful impact in America and among the different countries around the world. And we support democracy. And I was sharing with Tinny earlier that what I have heard is that because there was a large amount of election fraud in America, and so when some American hear that the military takeover in Burma was because of election fraud in Burma, because we know that there was a lot of fraud in the US, people are just automatically assuming that with the military takeover, it is the right thing. Many were hoping that the martial law would be experienced in the US after the widespread election fraud in America. So when they hear of the election fraud in Burma, they think, oh, so they are pursuing something they are pursuing an avenue for democracy. And that's not true. So, and I have even heard people say because they did not support Biden, and because Biden is speaking out against the Burmese military in Myanmar, that, oh, well, if they support the military, if they are not supporting the military in Burma, then maybe they are in the wrong. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of behind the scenes. I think Sister Mumu, we discovered that a little bit more about that.
Well, for me, like I was growing up in Burma myself, like inside the country before I went to refugee camp. So I knew that like what they did to people, like not only the ethnic people that live like outside of the Burma, like not outside, like in like under KNU control, whatever. Even like in the country, inside the country, we experienced their like different kind of like torture. We were always subjected to like harsh labor and pay tax or pay like supply them. So I just want to respond to some people that think like the military takeover is right. It's totally wrong. Like if you just like I just want to refer to Laura when she mentioned about the history of like the Burmese military, and they never follow the rule. They are like lawless. So there's really totally like different. You can never compare them with what's happened to America election and over there. Like you can never ever like say military are right. That's like 100% totally wrong to say they're right. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes.
Can I respond
How
to
would
that,
you,
Jenny?
yeah.
I just want to say what you said is exactly true. And I think some American people don't, or even people in other countries don't really understand the communistic ways of the Burmese military. And so as we speak out and stand for democracy, we must make it clear to the American people and around the world that no, what transpired in Burma and Myanmar is not the same that happened in America. You cannot compare. I was telling Tindy earlier that I think that the Burmese military took advantage of the situation and turned and twist the truth into a big lie. And so they took advantage of the situation to make it seem that they are doing the right thing for the democracy of the land, but they are not. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can I interject here something quickly? As someone who is again working from an official capacity with the Karen National Defense Organization, what I can tell you is that there is absolutely no comparison to the free and fair elections that we had here in the U.S. And what has happened in Burma. In Burma, there were free and fair elections, but the military did not like the outcome. And so they have chosen, as they have for over 70 years with the Karen people and even longer there in Burma, but they have chosen to retake control because they did not like the outcome of the free and fair election there. This in no way compares to any rhetoric that might have been thrown about the U.S. elections. They're not in any way the same, and I don't think that it's helpful to bring that into this discussion. We have to stay focused on who is truly at fault here, and that is the genocidal military junta in Burma. And these are not people who just, this one election has caused them to act inappropriately and act with violence. This is not just a one-off. This is literally decades and decades and decades and decades and decades of actions that have included murder, have included raped, have included genocide, have included displacement of people, have included enslavement, have included assassinations. I mean, these are people who are completely and utterly lawless. They see themselves as above any laws. These people are, quite frankly, these people are absolutely, they need to be removed from power and brought to justice. They cannot be allowed to remain in power, regardless of who's backing them. That neither here nor there. As a humanitarian body, we, the world, have got to demand that they are removed from power.
I agree. Yes. What to make clarify, like make it clear for everybody a little bit about Burmese military take over in Burma. Honestly, the Burmese military already have a plan before they lose the election. They already have a plan,
Right.
created everything.
Right.
They create a problem among the NLD party. So that means they can have more evidence. They can take a power. Let's say right now, okay, they are losing power. They are losing people. So they are releasing over 23,000 criminals in Burma without any reason. They are real
Right.
criminals. They release. Why? They have a plan. And also now, if we look at the social media, we also see the little kids, the young kids, the children, they use the children, they give them the money to go out and burn the facility, to burn the building. Look at that. They already know they're losing, so they just start creating more and more problems, and they blame it to other parties. So they just want to have a power because they have a gun. So it is really like, if you think it the right way, it's really painful. Those who think that the Burmese military is doing the right thing, that means you are totally wrong.
Right.
It's totally different from the U.S. election. Don't compare
Correct.
from the U.S. election. As a young Korean people, I want to ask Sister Ishi as her opinion.
Hi. Growing up in a refugee camp, we hear story all the time and always fear. Even though we didn't grow up in Burma, we already experience, like, here, and everybody experience. So it will always put a fear on little kids like us. And I was here in America when I was like 12 years old. Even that, I grew up knowing the horrible situation in Burma. As a little kid, we not even learn in school. We didn't learn anything about that kind of in school, but we know, we hear stories, and it's just horrible how they treat people in Burma. Yeah.
So I just wanna support to like Sister Shishi point of view. That is very right. Even though like you don't like grow up in Burma or you don't experience it in person because of your parents, your grandparents, and your aunts, your family, and the whole population experiences. So they pass down their like experience. So right now, what's happening in all the like social media, what you see on the social media, like inside Burma, like the people who live in Burma, they suffer a lot too, And besides that, look at the ethnic Korean people. They are also still running, and you see kids like sleep on the like ground and everything. And I talked to some of the like the ladies that I know, like around my aunt's age or whatever, and they told me that it's like traumatize them and almost like bring it back the same nightmare. And some people are like they couldn't sleep, by seeing these images, and they were like, these are what's happened to us, like 20 or 30 years ago, and now it's still there, and it's feel like the same. So like their mental health is very like prevail, and it's very concerning. So like they need help for that, to like emotional support or whatever. So I couldn't do anything because when it's come to like mental health issue or like to support them, we never have like those kind of service or like conversation back home. So all I can say to them is like, as someone who has no experience, like just turn down your social media, your news a couple days and relax. It's too much for you to take in the same thing that you had experienced.
Tindy, can you share a little bit about what is taking place with the release of the 23,000 criminals, and what is happening throughout the country, and now the military has gone up into the countryside area?
Yes, I would love to share. Okay, if we look at the social media, there is over 23,000 criminal just recently be released. But after a day, they just start creating a problem right away. Like they're poisoning people with a drug. There's people in Burma, they are losing trust to each other right now because okay, when they are going out protest, they got the bottled water, the beer poison. So they drink it, they got a problem. Okay, the reason, in my opinion, the reason why the Burmese military released 23,000 criminals because they were too empty at the jail. So after that, if I'm like I can say 95% truth, because after they cut out the internet, after they cut out all connection, you can wait and see. They are going to arrest a lot of those Democrat leader and other leader. So now they try to empty the jail. They can put more people. They can exchange to a political leader with the criminal. So you just like take out the criminal, put the political leader back to the jail, because they are going to do the same thing like in China. They are asking for help from China to help them with technician support, with the internet, with the social media. Now they are going to ban all the social media that they don't like it, they don't work for them. This is very serious planning. I'm not sure other people already know or not. The Burmese military already have a plan. They already created a plan long time ago. They want to take over. They want to have the power. So they want to be like only their people want to be a leader, want to be control the whole country. But one thing I want to mention another thing about a current state. Okay, now they said it more their troop in current state. The current village have to flee to hide the jungle. There is another problem in the city. A lot of people protest, but we just want to make an international community to pay attention in the city, so they don't care about what happened in the current state. Because two things happen at the same time. The more people pay attention in the other side, they lost attention in the other side. This is part of the Burmese military game plan. They are planning to do to clear all the ethnic people. This is part of their plan, I believe. If you are a believer or not.
I agree with everything you just said. I want to talk too about something that we can do. Those of us here in North America and those of us in other countries like Norway and Australia, et cetera, et cetera. The number one thing that we as a Korean community, and I say we because I'm an ally, not not because I'm acting as Corinne, but what we as a community, the number one thing that we have to focus on here is unity. I know that we don't agree about everything, and we don't see eye to eye on every issue, and even who we think that the best leader amongst ourselves is. However, divided we will fall, and we must be united in our efforts for freedom, and we must be united in our efforts for democracy. And once that we receive our freedom and our Kawthoolei and our independence and our self-determination, then we can decide and have disagreements about who we should elect as our leaders, etc. That's the number one thing that we really need to focus our efforts on is unity and not the infighting, because I know that that's something that we really deal with as a community. I've been asked several times this past week how we here that are safe outside of Kawthoolei, how we can make a difference, because it seems a lot that we talk a lot, but there's hardly any action, and it does feel overwhelming, and it does feel like, what in the world can we do? We're safe in our homes here. We're not, we are not in direct harm's way, and I have used 3 points that I feel like can be effective. One of them is to boycott any companies who have any connections with the military junta. We are working on a list of those companies and going to try and push that out. I will try and work with Kawthoolei today to try and get a fairly complete list so that we can work towards boycotting those companies. Financial depression is very effective means. The other thing is to protest in the areas where you live. Find community protests who are doing protests and be active in those. That includes sharing on social media trusted sources. I need to make sure that we're using trusted sources and not hearsay, but share trusted sources of information that is coming out of the homeland so that we can make sure that the world is seeing it. The last thing is those of us who live in democratic countries, contact your local leaders, your local government officials, your representatives, and let your voice be heard, and let them know that we as their constituents expect for them to take action on our behalf, because that's what they're elected to do, is the will of the people, and our will is that some action be taken place. Those are the things that we can do, aside from having these discussions. But the number one thing is we have to unite ourselves, even in the face of some disagreements. We have to unite ourselves.
Thank you. Yes. I want to ask our sister here, as a young lady. So, if you live in Burma, what do you think? What is your future is going to be?
I don't think I would have any future. I think most of my future would be being afraid of Burmese military. You hear a lot of horrible stories, especially rapes and murder, and you have to be afraid for your mom and dad and your brother and sister all the time, especially yourself. So I can't imagine living in Burma, and I consider myself very lucky to grow up and born in refugee camp, even though some people might be like, oh, like you born in refugee camp, but to us Korean people, we are considered very lucky to be born in refugee camp. Yeah.
That was very good. I had a question for everyone. And I wanted to ask, I understand that President Biden has demanded that the Burmese military release their power and mentioned about sanctions. And is it of the opinion that the sanctions will actually, in fact, move the junta to change their power, to relinquish their power?
Let me answer to that because as soon as I saw President Biden release that statement, a friend from Burma, she posted a statement like they won't do anything for them, and one of the reasons like there is like backup for the military, family or like leaders because they haven't saving enough, you know, millions or could be billions of dollars in like other country that support them, especially like China. And if you're aware of, they get like a firewall and some like IT support from China to install, and now they're preparing like 38 pages articles for the cyber security law. So they will control people. So it seems like I'm just talking about like how strong they are. I'm not sure like this censure would do like we like pressure them enough. But yes, anything will help. But I don't know what is the depth of this censure.
Well, yes, I believe whoever live in Burma, they are very like excited when they heard about the President Biden releasing the statement. So I'm not sure the statement is gonna take a place seriously or not, but we can wait and see. Now I would like to welcome our another guest from Cambodia. So earlier I've been with them in the meeting. They are very like okay, put their heart together and like have faith that the people are from Burma. One day they're gonna like success. So I would like to welcome her and introduce herself a little bit what she's doing.
Thank you, friends, and thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Tenny, and for inviting me to join this meeting. And we really busy today because of the same cause. And we, on behalf of Cambodia community, we stand for our friends Myanmar, and to urge the government military from Myanmar to release Madame Aung San Suu Kyi. On behalf of Women Affairs, CNOP America, and CNOP Overseas, we are standing with the people of Myanmar because we have the same fight, the same cause of freedom and democracy. So according to our version 2, and we are seeking for to influence humanitarian all international, especially the issue according to Madame Aung San Suu Kyi. So we want to urge Mr. Min Aung Hlaing, who began to arrest and starting to arrest and give oppression to the people of Myanmar. So we had 3 reasons to urge that they must release Madame Aung San Suu Kyi because of these 3 reasons. One reason, free Aung San Suu Kyi is the best symbol to show the world that Myanmar has the real democracy. Number 2, free Aung San Suu Kyi can bring peace to all people of the Myanmar. Number 3, free Aung San Suu Kyi can withdraw imposed from the United States sanction, and we want to urge all of the military to release Aung San Suu Kyi and follow the human rights and give the freedom back to the people of Myanmar. And thank you so much for give opportunity for me to join with our friends today and like we say that we fight the same thing. We fight for democracy, and we really thank you for all people in Myanmar right now, and the world will looking, and the world is watching for you guys, and you guys doing the great and supreme super job for fighting for your freedom and for the speech of rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your experience from your country. I have seen a lot of Cambodian people. They are struggling the same thing, and now they understand. So they are like fighting together with us to get a freedom in Burma. I have seen all Cambodia around the world. They call for meeting. They are supporting the people who are protesting in Burma. We know everybody is need a peace, need a right, so need an equality. So yeah, I believe in not only Cambodia, around the world is need a peace, need a right. Right? Am I right, Miss Jackie? Can you unmute your phone, please?
Absolutely, you are correct, Tinny. Absolutely. They have gone through the struggle and experienced the Khmer Rouge war, where they lost 2 million to genocidal death. And so they know clearly what you are going through. And it is wonderful to have many people around the world to support Burma, to support the democratic people of Burma. And so thank you so much, Kim Hoon, for joining.
Yes, thank you.
That's my pleasure.
Miss Laura, I have one question for you. That some people mentioned that okay, the Chinese and the American people can start a war in Burma as a one-round coup. How do you believe in that kind of opinion?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, some people mentioned that the Chinese and the American can start a one-on-one coup in Burma.
Well, I mean, goodness. Yes, that could possibly happen. I don't believe that will happen. I believe that the U.S. will take every diplomatic avenue possible. It's very complicated, the situation, and don't feel free to go into a lot of detail. But what I can say is that the U.S. does not have the intention of war with China, and they want to avoid that at all costs. In my opinion, I'm not a U.S. government official, so that's just my opinion. but I don't believe that is something that we should look for, or that we should fear. I don't think that is on the horizon. So yeah, what I would say is that is not something that we should be entertaining right now. That there are things that we can do, again, diplomatically, to put pressure on China and Burma, but a world war scenario, or that would not be helpful at this juncture.
Yes, I hope not.
Yeah.
You know what? One thing is in Burma right now, something is going to happen very seriously. It is going to happen because if the Burmese military not giving up, if they are not giving their power to the NLD leader, it is going to happen very serious. Because now they are planning to cut off the internet connection. There's one thing they are going to do. Something is not good. That is the sign. Okay, so another thing, they're releasing a lot of criminal. That is not a good sign for the future, right? So that's something can happen very badly. So right now, I just kind of like maybe some people get very scared. Some people might not think, okay, we will be okay. We will win the protest. We will be okay. But if you think a different way, it's gonna be like, okay, dictatorship control is not easy. All the ethnic minority group, they can be a slave. They can be in jail. You never know because the long history, like 88. So a lot of student people got killed. You never know it's gonna happen this time or not after they cut off the connection. If they shoot people because they are banning all they are going to ban all the media team. So it is kind of scary.
I just wanna talk a little bit about like how concerned I am about like the people inside Burma. Because when I was a kid, I remember like there was some people like the Burmese military would just like take them, and they never show up again. They never show up again, and they never give a reason why. But we all know they just kill them. So right now it's happening already. Like they at night they will go to like the NLD party member houses, and they just like drag them out from their house, no warrant, what charges they don't mention. They just take them like this, and they don't let the family know where they keep them, why they take them, and what's gonna happen. So I am very concerned because I'm already seeing like the darkness, like what I have seen when I was like 7 or 8 years old. So it's very concerning.
Now, I would like to request Lapo to share her opinion a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I'm so sorry about my internet today. I really don't understand why I couldn't get in, and maybe my audio and the video might be a little bit delayed. But if you can hear me, I think probably okay that to share my opinion about the current situation in Myanmar. Well, most of you I have been listening to you guys, and I really appreciate like we have different opinion. As a Karen ethnic, not the Burmese ethnic, I think most of us understand that doesn't matter who's going to lead the country, whether the military or the NLD government, there is nothing different for the ethnic nationality, which is we have been oppressed by the military leaders, and we don't really see that Aung San Suu Kyi is going to change the country because we have no hope in her. She already have a chance to handle the war criminal to the international ICJ, the International Court of Justice, and she didn't. Instead of like give it those war criminal to get arrested or faces the course, that she defends them. So that's why I feel like probably her leadership won't help anything to the ethnic minority. And the second point is, even though we have been facing ethnic cleansing or genocide, and then my people like Karen or other ethnic nationality have been fighting against the Burmese military for our self-determination. And then she even blamed us as a terrorist. For us, we defend our family, our loved one, that we want to be free from this dictatorship. But for her, she strongly stand for her military and then the army, that she even praised them as a protector. Like without them, maybe the country will be like this, for example. So that's why I deeply felt like I never trust her, because I was born in Kawthoolei and I grew up in the refugee camp, and then I never trust in her according to the history that we have learned from her father or so on, and how they play the politics inside the country. So that is why maybe our voice is not have been heard to the international community. And then most of the neighboring country and the international community really praise her, like she's the hero, she's, you know, the only one that going to change the country. But for us, especially me, I feel like she might be, if I'm Burmese, she might be a good leader. But as I was born as a Burmese citizen or Burmese ethnic, so I don't really see that she has done anything for ethnic minority. So that is why I feel like I lost. I feel like for us, we have to stand up for ourselves, and then definitely have to speak up for the international community. Have to see the real problem in Myanmar is not to change the system. It's about all the ethnic have to have the equal right, and then no one is have to be a dominate ethnic nationality that going to rule the country, because it doesn't matter who going to rule the country, right? Like I pointed out in the very beginning, that the military or the NLD is going to be both dictatorship that try to force to control the ethnic area, and then for them to have a power and more power on us. So this is what my expression, that I strongly stand up for all the ethnic have to fight for our right. And then doesn't mean that we going to like invade the Burmese or the, you know, like where the Burmese are where they live, but we only have to protect ourselves and defend the area where our people are. That we don't want them to come and force control the area where we live, and we want to live our life freely, definitely free from them. Is that okay? I might be a little bit delayed with my.
Yeah. You are losing connection a little bit.
Exactly. That's why really. Anyways, you can move on if you can hear me. So I will be back. I will refresh my internet.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your opinion. Yeah. One thing, there is a lot of people supporting Miss Aung San Suu Kyi, but she is a good leader, but she's weak leader. She's too weak, because we see last 2019, she's defending all the military have done the bad job, the criminal work. Okay, she like defends all those criminal justice. So this kind of make our feel like bad. So she take off the trust from us. So this is her responsibility, because she have a chance to stand up for the truth. She did it. She just defends. Like 2019, okay, in other country, the military leader take it to the court. But instead of the military leader go to the court, Aung San Suu Kyi went cover all those criminals. This kind of make us like lose. We are losing trust on her. That's the reason why a lot of ethnic minority, they're not have a hope on her. This one thing that people need to understand about that one too. Missy, would you like to say anything about how much do you like know about Miss Aung San Suu Kyi? I think you are muted. Can you unmute your phone? Yeah, can you unmute it at the bottom?
Okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you again for invite me to join this show. And the reason we support Madame Aung San Suu Kyi, because as a woman, and like I said it in Cambodia, we had same fight. We had the same struggle. We had the same fight. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the truth. And we have to stand up for the we
Yeah.
had same fight, we had the same fight for democracy. And Madame Aung San Suu Kyi has been fight so long for democracy, not just for herself, but it's represent for fighting for the freedom of speech. And as a woman, we are around the world. We must support, anything that is right now. It's happened in Myanmar, and for example, in Cambodia, we had the leader, Madame Musukur, also, and she had been fighting so long for democracy, and then we didn't have any opportunity to returning back to Cambodia because the dictator in Cambodia closed all of the exit that the entrance inside the Cambodia. So that's how we supported the same thing, because the same cause of democracy. And also everywhere had dictator, everywhere that have dictatorship, and the country will be go back to opposite way for democracy. And it's the same thing like Martin Luther King had said it: injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So if you allow the injustice everywhere to Myanmar, and then the people will be suffering from 1 year to another. For example, like the same thing as Cambodia too, because over 30 years dictatorship is covered in Cambodia. That's how the people keep suffering. So it's the same thing, like the same whole wide world. We need to be support for the same cause, to fight for democracy, especially for the women human rights. Yeah.
Thank you. Miss Laura, can you tell us your opinion about Aung San Suu Kyi?
Yes. So I of course, I have personal feelings about her, and about what she has done. I think what I would, because I serve in an official capacity, what I would just reiterate is that even though we have some very deep disagreements with some things that she has done and some things that she has not done, that we feel were promised to us, I think that we have to keep our eyes focused on the cause of democracy. And we as an ethnic group, the Karen, were not allowed to vote in these elections, so our voices weren't heard. But our countrymen, our fellow countrymen within Burma, their voices were heard, and they did choose to elect the NLD, and by proximity, Aung San Suu Kyi. And we have to condemn her capture and demand her release. Once that she is reinstalled into power, her and the democratically elected parliament, then we can start to have the discussions about who we feel is best to replace her, who we feel that we can put our trust in, etc. I don't think that it's probative for us to get into, do we like her? Do we not like her? At this time, because the truth of the matter is, whether we really like her or we don't like her, she is still being held captive against her will, without any recourse of release. And she was the democratically elected leader of the NLD party. And and I'm speaking for the Karen, but as the Karen, we believe in Sabah Uji 4 principles, and his number 1 principle was self-determination, and by that he meant democracy. We stand for democracy, and so for us to stand by his 4 principles, we have to stand for democracy. And you know, that we can debate, you know, whether we agree with everything that she has or hasn't done. That's, you know, but at this point we have to stand with the idea of democracy, and for this moment, that's what she represents. That.
Yeah. Would you like to share anything?
Yes, I do. Miss Laura have a very valid. A lot of people have a similar opinion like her. So step by step, we should do it. But I also want to say it's very important that we don't only focus on Aung San Suu Kyi, because you can see in Burma right now, a lot of people have eyes on Burma, but if they have to shoot, they shoot the people, you know. So we can't imagine people who nobody look at right now. Current people are in jungle right now who are running from the war. Nobody has eyes on them. Sometimes we get picture, and if they take down the internet, I have no idea. I'm so concerned about the current people. So we also have to you know, speak about that part. Yes, maybe Aung San Suu Kyi is a good leader, maybe it's not, but we also need to talk about the people in the jungle, and I really want to make that loud also.
Yeah. And well, yeah, I want to share about the refugee a little bit too, because there is many Korean people become a refugee for a long time ago, decade to decade, like Thai Burma border. There is no people see us, right? There's many people when they go home, they have no hope in refugee camp. They like they live in house arrest. They cannot go out. If they go out, they be arrested by Thai authority. They cannot go back to Burma. They have no place. They have to scare Burmese military. The Burmese military came to the village and set up their boot camp. They just threatened the civilians, so nobody can stay close to their camp. This is kind of make it really sad that people not knowing we become a refugee long time ago. A lot of people become a refugee at Thai Burma border. Those who are watching, I would like to share the video and also to go and look at what happened in Thai Burma border. How many refugee camp over there? This is very serious happening, not from now, a long time ago. This is very serious. So I will ask Miss Jackie to share a little bit more about your experience of visiting in Thailand, and also we're gonna continue about 15 minutes. Then we're gonna add the discussion.
Just one day, Tini.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a one question, and everybody. What is important? What is important in Burma right now?
Anybody want to answer those questions?
I mean, like we have to solve the problem, like the Burmese military. Is we have to. What is the public in Burma? What they want to? They need to solve the. We have to solve the problem. Just important.
Right. Well, I think that what's important for the people of Burma to know is that the world is watching, and that as long as we're able to see within the country, that we are watching, and that we are making every effort to make their voices heard around the world. I think another thing that is important for us is, I know I spoke about unity earlier, but I think not just within the Korean community. I think now is a time for the ethnic minorities to get together and to unify. And we have one common enemy and one common aggressor. And I think that, you know, it's time for us to get together and to become a cohesive unit and stand together and make sure that our voices are not just heard but adhered to. You know, the ethnic minorities far outnumber the Burman so-called majority. I know that that we, if you added all the ethnic minorities together, that we would far surpass them. And I think one of the great successes that the Burmese army has had is separating us into minority groups and pitting us against each other at times. And I think one of the great downfalls for them would be if we decided that we were going to unify against them. And so that is definitely, definitely, in my opinion, that is definitely a solution that I can see would have great success.
Thank you. Is anybody?
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay. Sorry. Well, I just want to answer the question. When you ask what is important in Burma right now, it is important to get back democracy. And just like every other Korean people, I really personally, there's a lot of things that I don't like about Aung San Suu Kyi. But then when you look at the situation right now, if you don't fight for democracy, who you gonna fight with? It's gonna be chaos all over. You won't even know who you're fighting with, because you have to go step by step. First you fight for democracy, and then under democracy you fight for your right. Otherwise it's just gonna be all over the places. It won't go anywhere. So back in 2012 I was very supportive about Aung San Suu Kyi and everything. But then when I see she didn't stand up for any ethnic people, not only Korean, okay? And when I went back to Burma, I can see there's a development in Burma, and only in the city areas. Even my hometown, which is big collective hometown, have a tin mining that Chinese are investing in it. It is limited area. I can't even go there. So if you are inside Burma, the only a handful of people are benefit from this new government, and the international aid that they are getting. It did not go to the majority of people in Burma. So I don't blame people for not trusting her, but you have to see here, first you have to fight for democracy, and under the democracy you have to fight for your right, because if Burma did not get back its democracy, and if military is still in power, it's gonna be like 88, back in 88. So there's no differences. So if there's democracy, it would be much different than fighting back in 88. So I just want people to not focus too much on one person, instead focus on the whole picture. Look at the big picture, what is going on in order to get to what we want, what we have to do. You have to go step by step. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, you're right. And I wanted to encourage those who are protesting is sitting. Yeah, don't give it up. Keep doing, right? If you lose it, you will not have a chance again. Just keep doing. Some of your friends already gave it their life. Don't give up. If you give up, you are losing. You will never have a chance again. Not again. Not anymore in your whole life, in your generation. So don't give it up. Keep doing. Keep going.
But can I also have my point about I totally get your point about what is important. And of course, this is very important that the country should be led by democracy if you believe in democracy. But I see that when you go back to the history of the Myanmar, all the leadership, see, right after independence, that the country was led as a democracy, which is the UNU administrations. And then, of course, when the ethnic are uprising for their self-determinations, then the leader of the majority are the Burmese. I don't know how they play the politics, but I can really see that then in 62, then doesn't mean that they are the military coup or take over the power of the government or the Burmese government. But in the history written down, like they are handing the power to the military, which is they don't really want to give any right to the ethnic minority. And then from that day on, the military have been leading the country for 30 years. And then the democracy uprising. Then the name of Aung San Suu Kyi or the NLD come up. And at that time, the Karen or the rest of the ethnic group are still fighting for their right. Doesn't matter, when you look at the big picture, this country has switched the power between the military government and the civilian government. And we, the Karen people or the rest of other ethnic nationality, are still fighting for our right. So for me, I feel like we are not only fighting the dictatorship, we're also fighting the Burma, what so-called we call is the Burmanization or nationalism, which is they are leading this country. This is the main problem that you have to, you have to see. Most people put their thought that democracy might be held, maybe they are not like a military dictatorship or the regime that control you with a gun. But when the civilian governments are leading, doesn't mean that the military are die. The soldiers are die. They are protected. They are back up the government. So that's my point is, we need to solve these, we need to see these problems before we really put our trust on anyone who's going to lead this country. So definitely, I can really see that if this, typical ethnic group are leading the country, which is the Burmese. I'm not anti this ethnic group, but if they are still leading this country, there is nothing change between the civilian government or the military dictator or the regime are leading this country. There is nothing going to change. This is just my point. And that is why I really encourage that the international community should see the really problem of this country. It's not because of the system. It's because of one small group, selfish group are leading this country. And we need to destroy them. Doesn't matter what. We need to bring them down to accept that they are also one of the ethnic nationality in this country. They are not the Lord. They are not the colonizer. They are not the God who all have all the right there to lead this country and change your mindset, change your scare you or threaten you if you stand up for your own right, that they're going to kill you or destroy you. So this is the fear that we need to get rid of, that we need to stand up and see the real problem of this country. That is just my point.
I agree. Yes, absolutely. Miss Jackie, what is your turn? I cannot hear you. Can you unmute your phone?
I agree with what everyone has said, and freedom is never free. And just like Tenny said, irregardless of what has taken place, you must continue to support, must continue to do peaceful rallies. And during those peaceful rallies, make sure that, or make an effort to express that Aung San Suu Kyi should represent all the ethnic minority groups. She should represent all the people. That's very, very important.
Randy.
So you know, as a matter of fact, we had a rally just a week or two ago here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that was something that I expressed, that she just doesn't represent a portion of the people, but she is to represent all the people of Burma. And I think that has to be, you know, highlighted. You know, everyone is fighting for her release, and she has all the ethnic minorities fighting for her release. So as they unite, it was so wonderful to see all the different ethnic minorities come together to do the peaceful rally, not just the Karen, but the Chin and the Kachin and Shan and just from everywhere, Karenni. And so just know that we, the people around the world, are standing with the people of Burma, the democratic people of Burma. Very, very important. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And now we have another guest from it is Karenni minority. Brother, would you like to share anything about your experience in Burma, about becoming a refugee, coming to the US, what is your goal, plans, the future, and hope? Brother Mira, you have a minute or not? Okay. Does
Okay,
anybody want to share anything?
I have one more question.
Go for it.
Okay. I know everybody wants the unity, not only correct people, but also all the ethnic people in Burma. But what the reason they don't want to unity?
Does anybody want to answer the question?
Can you clarify the question a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
I heard you asking why the Karen don't want unity.
No, I mean everybody want the peace, but not only the Karen people, but also ethnic people in Burma, they want peace, but they never unity. What the reason?
Well, I think that I think it's pretty clear.
What is the big problem? What is the big problem?
Well, I think that the Burmese military has been very, very effective in separating us and dividing us and telling lies to each ethnic group to make us distrust each other. I think that has, played out over, for sure, the last 70 plus years, in that they will go to one group and say, oh, you can't trust the Karen because of this situation. And then they'll come to the Karen and say, oh, you can't trust the Shan because of this situation, or you can't trust the Karenni, or, I think we've all seen that several times, those of us who've worked or lived in Burma. We see that a lot. And that's built over many generations of distrust. And it's going to be very hard to sort of put that behind us and unite. I don't think it's an unwillingness to unite. I think it's the mistrust that's been placed there by our oppressor. And I don't think that it's any mistake or accident that we have ethnic groups who don't trust each other. That didn't happen organically. That happened as a result of the Burmese army and the Burmese government creating discord amongst the ethnic groups.
And
Thank you.
Yeah. Going on? Okay. As someone that grew up in inside Burma, and after I went to refugee camp, I see two different perspectives. That's why I understand why people in Myanmar are supporting Aung San Suu Kyi and why they fighting. And I can't blame them because they are inside Burma. They never learn Korean history, and under Aung San Suu Kyi, they felt a little bit better than when they were under the Burmese military when they have total control. So instead of blaming them for fighting, I support them for fighting democracy. At the same time, I still sharing what is going on in with the current people and what is our history. So by doing that, they will understand, they will see, and their perspective also will change. So we don't divide people and we don't just uh, say that they are bad anymore. Of course they want their life to be back to normal, at least under before. And I totally get that, and I at the same time I understand how much pain our people have, what they endure. So sometimes it's so difficult. People will sometimes see me why are you fighting for the Burmese and why are you fighting for the Rohingya? And I was like, look, I am not Korean, I'm not Rohingya, I'm nothing. I'm just a human fighting for human. That's all I want to say. So, here is all I want to say, people have different perspective because how they grew up and what they taught them inside Burma. So instead of focus on the disagreements, focus on what we can do to bring all the disagreement to agreement. And we have to do it little by little. We can't do it just one day and expect them to hey, I got a history, I fight for it. No, it's not like that. You show what you care about them, and then at the same time you show them what is the true history. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, you see, we have a very good discussion. Is there a last minute anybody want to share or want to speak up or anything?
I just want to support Miss Lawrence, that's your name, that I totally agree that the Burmese government or the Burmese military have been using the strategy that called divided and rule, and not only divided, also illiterate the ethnic minority who live in the remote area because of the civil war and then the conflict or the clash between the Burmese army and our army. Then our children, or when I grew up, that I almost never finished my school back in Kawthoolei because we always have to run and hide ourselves in the jungle. So that is why they illiterate us to force control and make us not to understand what is going on inside the city. At the same time, I totally agree with Mumu that she has been growing up inside and she learned the history, probably, of course, not current history, but the history that written by the Burmese or the government. And then she might has a different perspective, and then later on then she realized that when she learned both sides, then she see the potential, like this country need to change and then who we need to support. And my point is that I have been talking to a lot of my friends inside Rangoon, and then we have a lot of disagreement, but when we come down to the ground level as Karen, that when we try to ask what we really want, of course we want to be educated, of course we want to be speak our own language, and then we need to fight like the equality right, which is our leader have been fighting for, that we need equal, like we want equality. It's not only one group is like a boss or leading you all the time and then you are the followers, but instead of that, maybe all of the ethnic need to rebuild this country when everybody have the voice and not only one specific group that try to hold you, divided you, make you fight each other, make you kill each other, and then lead you. So now we come out that we understand. I'm not really against those who support Aung San Suu Kyi or the democracy movement. I also agree with them because that is the way they see, and it is the way they think there might be the right way that they need to fight. And for my side, or as a resistance or freedom fighter in the jungle, that I also want to point out my like what I see and what I fight for, and then that is how we come, we will come back to the solution, or somehow that we need to we need to work together and then see the common goal, and then who are they that we are against or we are fighting for.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. I see.
One guest is in and out.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of connection problem. So, our brother Nira from Karenni community. Would you like to share anything, brother? I'm not sure you can hear me or not.
No.
I think last minute, anybody else want to share anything else?
I would like to share something. I just want to say that maybe on a future broadcast with Kawthoolei today, that we could have some of the Karenni and Chin and Kachin and some other ethnics to join in and show solidarity and support on the broadcast, and find avenues, take every opportunity to build more and more unity among the different ethnic groups. Like I said, I saw it at the I see it at the rallies, and the stronger there is, just power in unity, power in numbers, and the bigger, the stronger. And it takes just each individual, one person at a time, to make every effort to build that unity and bring down the walls between the different ethnic groups. It has to begin in the heart, and it has to be something that's very sincere. And because when there is unity, nobody can be stopped.
Yes.
Isn't it?
I think that is a really good point for the future, even for a discussion like this. Absolutely, we are welcome every ethnic minority leader to join us, go to broadcast, share our thought, and this is really important to start have a discussion together. So that is, I believe that is the road to be part of a unity. So we should do that. But whoever have a communication with the other ethnic leader, I would love to have a conversation like this together.
Yeah, I would love to hear from Netta and see what he can contribute. I'm sure he has much to say. Netta is a community leader here in Charlotte, North Carolina, a big advocate among the Karenni community, not only in Charlotte, North Carolina, but around the world. He has had many opportunities, or an opportunity to go back to Karenni State. Welcome.
Welcome, brother.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. And then, I joined late, and then I'm really sorry that I joined late, and then I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. So I just want to say hi to everybody, and then I'm listening because I went out, and then I just forgot. Miss Jackie just sent me the link, and then I'm really sorry about that. I just forgot, and as I remember, I tried to go back in, but it's already over an hour. So hopefully, I will have something to say next time.
Thank you, brother. I'm sorry for that too. Well, yeah, right now is one person request to speak in Karen. No, where but there can develop discover the potato ko bakale tiga taki but where tausan ko alitila kopu mana le copy of film window hini suda ko mami ge le ta pa kami na we discover but there part that mana. So yeah, I would love to have next time conversation like this. So. What do you think, Miss Jackie and Miss Laurie? Will you be able to join us next time and break more like guests, special guests?
Yes, you just tell me when you want, and I will do as you ask.
Yeah, I would love to bring more like senator, state senator. I would love to have a conversation with those leaders,
Sure.
state governor. Please, I need those people to join us so we can share more information with them.
Sure, and I have one of my sons is actually Zomi Chin, and he is connected with the leadership there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so I will reach out to him and get him connected with you. We'll get it all connected next time. Also, I'm friends with the Karenni. I believe he's the current Karenni president of the United States. Shar, and so I will get him also connected with you guys too. It was lovely, and thank you so much for your time and for the invitation. And I just want to say to all the Karen and other ethnic groups, I want you to know that we are so proud of you. We are supporting you so much. And we just want you to know we are standing behind you, and we're standing with you shoulder to shoulder as brothers and sisters in the world community.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. So, anybody want to share anything? The last word.
I just want to say thank you to everyone. I learned a lot from all of you guys in different perspectives and all your words. So I really appreciate you guys and for letting me be part of this.
Anybody else?
I also want to say thank you. I know I'm pretty, when it comes to, politics, I don't know a lot about it. And I'm also young compared to everybody else. So I just want to say thank you, with Tini, for inviting me to this. It's very important for me to learn more and share to the youth. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome to join anytime.
Yes, and I just want to say that I enjoy watching you on Kawthoolei today. I don't know your name, the girl that just spoke. Yeah.
Paul.
Yes. Yeah. I enjoy watching you on the broadcast. You do wonderful.
Thank you.
And so keep up the good work, and y'all keep fighting, and we're standing with you, and we look forward to many great things and miracles happening for your people in the future.
Yes.
Anybody else?
I want unity, but never unity. I want peace, but never unity.
All right. Yeah. Well, I want to thanks everyone for joining us. Yes, go for it.
No, I just want to thank everyone for sharing today. I'm a very strong person, of course, because when you grow up in the area when you always oppressed by the group, then your heart, every time I talk about my people, like I can't control my feeling because I have such a strong
passion.
Yeah. So that is my apologize if I might speak a little bit strong, but that is me, and then whoever I have been growing up and brought up. And one thing that I want to tell one of our participants, Bore, we are not united. Doesn't mean that we don't want to unite it, because one specific group it try to divide us and rule us. That's why we are not united. So believe me or not, this group is the common enemy for everyone. who really want to build this country as a peaceful and lovely country, because we are very diverse. All the culture are very lovely. Doesn't mean that I don't like the Burmese food. I do. I do enjoy Burmese festival. I do enjoy Burmese food, but only one small group who crazy about their power is ruling the country. That is why we need to see the point that. And also, I really encourage the young people that we really need to learn a lot about the history. Don't only learn some part, read the Burmese history, see, put your side in their shoes, how you want to lead, because you don't want to be dictator when you have a chance to lead the country. So learn about their history very detailed and understand that how you really want to build this country with a, like, we all enjoy diversity and we all want to build this country with equality. So focus on that, and then we will definitely see the change in the future. That is just my last word. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. It seems like our time is go by so fast. It's not enough for me to continue to discuss. I need more time, but I think some of audience that might get sleeping and boring. So we are going to stop by now. We'd like to appreciate everyone who are participating with us. We are going to keep doing this for the next time. So thank you everyone. And don't leave it yet. We're gonna come back after we stop streaming.